I love him. Oh, he slipped. Oh, Boomy. Oh. Okay, so got a little bit of a late start on this one, but another reading with Radia. Boomy just slip. Oh, and we were really originally just gonna do this little one, but I realized we had another snail book, which is Sammy a Snail. So we decided this was gonna be kind of like a snail themed reading with Radia. I don't know, but Boomy's face is really cute, and he's sweaty, but he's googie boogie googie. He's a googie boogie doogie. Oh, I know Boomy. But I got treats, boy. Oh, he come back. Boy, look at that. That's a good boy. Okay, so let's just get started. The Shy Snail. This is a very short book. Here in the garden is where I stay and munch on leaves, and I like to play. When the sun is out and shining bright, it's time for bedtime, and I'm out of sight. In the dark is where I start to slink. It's the best time to lurk, don't you think? Please, there's a treat right here. Don't leave. Please don't leave me. He's good. Sometimes I get a terrible fright and go in my shell to snuggle up tight. I pop my head out when the coast is clear until I come across another fear. I don't mean to be scared or afraid, I just prefer to hide in the shade. Oh, he jumped all the way up like a doggy. Bashful or coy is what some say. I'm the shy snail, and that's my way. What? Can you see that? Oh, dear. Okay. So that was a super short one, Shy Snail. So that's why we brought another one. And my dog is on the table, and I go doody doody. I just called you a doody. Why do I do that? You make me go crazy. But you're so cool. Here's a nice live stream of my dog on the side. There we go. Okay. Sammy the Snail. This is Sammy. Sammy lived happily in a quiet, peaceful snail village. But the quiet did not last. A huge storm hit the village. Many buildings were damaged and the snails were lost. The happiness of the snails disappeared after the storm. Before this story continues, it is important for you to know that when snails cried, they did not cry tears of water. They cried grains of sand. It has been many months since the storm. Sammy was still sad and cried grains of sand every day. Sammy began hiding the shells so that no one would notice how much he was crying. The sand in his shells made his skin sore, but Sammy kept hiding it. He did not know what else to do. Eventually, the damage from the storm was repaired and the snails returned to their daily routine. Sammy felt alone and ashamed as he watched the other snails. He thought he was the only snail still hurting. The truth, however, is that the other snails were also hiding their tears and were slowed down by the weight of their sand. Not being able to handle anything new or different, the snails adopted a simple, slow way of life. One day, a snail from a faraway village came to town. Her name was Sophia. She opened an art gallery displaying sculptures that reflected high and curious ways and were unlike anything the village snails had seen before. Sammy passed the gallery each day on his way to work. Though he was curious about the sculptures, Sammy never went inside. On one particular day, as Sammy passed the gallery, he was distracted by the light from the sculptures and bumped into Sophia, knocking both snails out of the shells. Quite embarrassed, they scrambled back into their shells, but not before Sammy noticed Sophia's scarred sides. Her scars were long and deep like his. "Sorry," mumbled Sammy, trying not to stare. He turned and hurried back home. All evening, Sammy could not stop thinking of Sophia's scars and how they very much resembled his own. Next day, Sammy went past the gallery. Sophia called out to him, "I'm sorry I ran into you yesterday. I'm glad you are okay." Sammy smiled and peered around Sophia's shell to catch a glimpse of the art behind her. Noticing Sam's curiosity, Sophia offered, "Please come in." Inside the art gallery were many extraordinary sculptures. Each one was beautiful and unique. "Are these made of sand?" asked Sammy. "Yes," replied Sophia. "These are sand sculptures created by snails all over the world who have decided to shape their tears into something beautiful. I have even made one of my own." Feeling slightly bold, Sammy asked, "Which one did you make?" Sophia motioned to one of the larger sculptures. This is one of my stories. It took a long time to make, and sometimes, just when I think it's complete, I feel the need to make more sand, to add more sand." "Did all that sand come from you?" Sammy asked. Sophia nodded. "Yes, I did. I cried a lot of sand with my story. I used to hide it in my shell, but it rode my skin and left me with terrible scars. Over time, I found a new place to keep my sand, so it no longer hurts me. I used to be embarrassed by it, but now I honor it by sharing my story." Sammy lingered in the gallery admiring the sculptures. As Sammy made his way home, he was more aware of the weight in his shell than ever before. He climbed into his bedroom, shut the door, and wiggled out of his shell. He saw his scarred body in the mirror, but rather than looking away, Sammy stared at the sand he had hidden for so long. He was determined not to let it hurt him anymore. Grain by grain, Sammy took the sand out of his shell. Day by day, he found the perfect place for his sand on the growing sculpture. Slowly, his story began to take shape. Sammy moved his sand from the darkness of his shell to a place that reflected light. Some days, Sammy felt pain as he looked at his sculpture. Other days, he felt relief. Mostly, Sammy felt happier and freer to move. One day, when Sammy knew it was time to share his sand with someone, he invited Sophia to see it. She marveled at Sammy's story, which had been shaped into a beautiful sculpture. Sammy donated his sculpture to the art gallery, where its light reflected back into the village. As the years went by, the gallery became much more accepted, and eventually it became common for snails to drop in and look at the sculptures. And wouldn't you know, the most admired sculpture was the one named For My Village by Sammy the Snail. And yeah, that's the story, Sammy the Snail. So I did this one and this one. Yeah, that's all for today. If you have a book recommendation, email it to Theekholms, and yeah. Oh yeah, and this Saturday, super close, my dad is posting a new Mermaid Sinks to the Deep episode. Took me a second. Yeah, and remember, books are amazing and so are you.